We are staring down a brand new month coming up very quickly. And so today we're going to talk about how to really set up your new month for success as the leading ladies that we are. And let me tell you, planning your life is so essential if you are planning on stepping into this leading lady role in your life, because there's this quote that I keep coming back to, and it says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that quote just really sums up the type A brain, if you know what I mean. I'm type A. I love to plan. I can't tell you how young I was when I first got a planner, and I was just like obsessed with it. Anyone else have that experience? Well, those of us who are obsessed with our planners as children have grown up to be really quite emotionally dependent on our planners, I want to say, because what we really are trying to do with that control of looking at our schedule and putting things in is to kind of have a say in the outcome of our lives. We want, I'm going to say this for everyone. If you're watching this, you are probably part of this. You want to really have a notion of where you're going and be able to live the life that either you have dreamed up for yourself or you know that you're being called to. You want to not live an ordinary life. You want to live your life to the best and biggest it possibly can be for what your dreams are. And it's going to look different for every person. And that's why it's really cool and endlessly exciting to look at other people's lives and see what directions their lives are taking them, because we're not meant to be robots to be the same thing for everyone. But we're like so curious about other people's lives and if what they're doing and if what they're doing is bringing them fulfillment, because we're always looking for the little thing to shift to make our lives even more what we're desiring them to be. And one of the ways that I do this is through planning and really being that leading lady, taking that responsibility for my life and sitting down and saying, if I want this life, let's reverse engineer it. Let's look at the things that I need to do today to get to that life, or to live out the life that I'm dreaming of already as it's becoming. So let's break all of this down. And the first thing I have, like, this is one of the leading lady habits that I like to call them, is really planning and scheduling your time. Now, planning your life and scheduling your time are two separate things. Yes, you heard me correctly. Planning your life is the type of activity that you do when you're journaling, when you're dreaming, when you are sitting down and kind of imagining this life for yourself. This is all part of planning your life. And when you look at this activity of planning, you're really looking at what it could be, and you're looking at all the things that need to happen in order for that to come to fruition. Now, scheduling your time is different, because time is a limited resource in which we have to steward well if we want to achieve all the things that we want to achieve. So when we sit down with our schedule, we are putting in what we're doing at a specific time, whether it be something that you have a responsibility and you have to be at a place at a specific time, or this is time you're setting aside to achieve such and such a goal, right? Scheduling your time and planning your life are two different things. They go hand in hand. We need to do both as a leading lady habit in order to have that life that we want to live. But it's like a helpful clarification to know that these are two separate activities in our lives, and we need both. So when we get so caught up in looking at our planners and putting in our time and wondering, why isn't being obsessed with my schedule moving the needle? It's probably because you're not planning your life enough. And if you're over planning your life and not transferring any of that into your daily schedule, that's maybe the disconnect. So we want to look at these as two sides of the same coin in having this life that you want to live really come to fruition. So let's think about that as we are planning out our April. We're about to enter a new month, and So we really want to look at both of these sides of the coin and really start to get into the practice of this leading lady habit of planning and scheduling your life. Okay, how do I do this? These are my monthly scheduling habits. Now, okay, I am a type A person. I love to plan and do all the things. I also like doing the planning because it sets me up for a time and then I can go and do. And then I love coming back and seeing the progress that I've made, what worked and what didn't work, and then also redoing it. And that's why I love that, like, the different times when we can stop and plan our days and our life and our time. And that's why I really love that we have 12 months in a year, because you have 12 small enough chunks of time to really dive into a new goal, a different piece of a goal, or just setting your life up in new possibilities in a new way 12 times a year. I mean, that's really cool. I mean, you could do it differently. You can do year planning, quarterly planning, monthly planning, and weekly planning, and daily planning. All of this, we do not have time to go into all of it today, but all of these things are all new opportunities. And when you see it as a new opportunity instead of something that, oh, I just have to do because it's a new month coming up, it gets you really excited to be a part of this creation of your life that we're called to, and what leading ladies do. We are called to pick up the pen and write our story with the Lord by setting our time aside to plan and schedule your month. You are picking up that pen and you are starting to write that story with the Lord. So this month, that's what we're going to do. This is how I do it, just so that you can kind of get a practical view. And I'm not a planning expert. And so, and I know people do things differently because it works for them. So take what I do, get curious about it, be like, ooh, that's so cool. But also I encourage you to plan in the best way that it is for you, because it might look different. So the first thing that I do is I look at, I physically write out in a month view. So I typically use a digital planner, but it is in like an app where I can write on it. So it's like it's printed out essentially. I don't use a physical planner anymore just because I'm on the go a lot and I want to have something succinct and always with me, and it pairs to all of my devices, which is really helpful. But I do go in and I hand write out all of the things for the month. And this is how I start. I start with the things that are my responsibility that I cannot change and that I need to show up for. So I put all of those in. I put birthdays and holidays and big events. And then, so I kind of schedule out my time in terms of these are the necessities that need to be in there. And then I sync that with my digital calendar. So then I use Google Calendar. And so then I will go in and put all of these things in my written out calendar into Google Calendar so that it's synced on all my devices. I get the notifications. I have to be here at this time, things like that. So that's really helpful. So once I get those immovable, things out of the way, and holidays and things like that, and those are all synced across all devices and on my written out planner, then I look at my life or my work goals. This is really where that planning piece comes into play. I've been thinking about, what are my quarterly goals and how far along am I in those, or what does that look like? And then I look at the time that I have left in my month and I say, what can I tackle this month, or what deadline is coming up this month, or what is a new opportunity that I can really spend my time sinking my teeth into this month. And so I'll pick something or a few things, and then I'll reverse engineer that into tasks, and I'll put that also in my schedule. So scheduling it out by month is helpful to see like what day belongs to what. And then you got to kind of go into the day and you have to be like, okay, well, this month it looks like I have a little bit of time on Monday evenings. And so Monday evenings is going to be the time I start to devote to this portion of this project to allow that to come and take shape. Because I don't know if you've heard this, but there is this phenomenon that a task will shrink or grow to this space that you give it, to the time limit that you give it. So that's why, if you've ever been under deadline, it takes you that long to get whatever it is done, versus if you were to have made up a deadline earlier, you would have gotten it done earlier. So it's really fascinating. And so a lot of times the things that we need to do don't take as much time as we think it takes. And that is because we're spending our time in the planning stage. We're spending our time like, oh my gosh, imagine when this will happen. And like, oh, I'm planning all of this and this is what takes a long time. But if we were to sit down and be like, yes, I've planned to the point where now it's in my calendar. Now I have this 30-minute chunk. I have this hour chunk. And if I knock out as much as I possibly can in this chunk of time, let's just see how much I can get done. And a lot of times you will get done more than what you set out to do within that time frame if you are just committed to doing that. That's when that kind of shift goes from planning your life to putting it in your schedule, because you can only go so far in the planning stage where you're just like imagining. Things have to take shape at some point, and so you have to put those pieces of the plan into your schedule so that they become reality. Okay, so this is what I do kind of as like a new month approaches, and I look at all of those things. And again, I want to bring up this quote that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I think sometimes it can call us out for being too lax in planning our lives and scheduling things out, and wondering why we're not where we want to be, or wondering why we are not living the life that we know desperately that we can. And so I encourage you to spend a little bit of time at the beginning of a month, a new month, the end of a month, to look at the next month and say, hey, how can I start taking what I've planned and put it into my schedule while honoring all the responsibilities that I already have on my calendar? I promise you can get more done in the time that you have, as long as you're intentional and you schedule it out. It seriously is life-changing. And I just encourage you that this is a step to really take hold of that writing utensil in your life, that picking up the pen and writing your story with the Lord. We are leading ladies, and this is a leading lady habit that allows us to step into that role in our lives. I'm doing this, and I hope that you can take it and figure out what works best for you in your season of life, in the way that your brain works, in the way that your responsibilities are, and you find a way where you can learn how to really plan and schedule your time that allows you to live really presently in your life and achieve your goals. I'm cheering for you.